Data connection is an essential part of Power BI Desktop. Knowing when and how to connect to a data source within Power BI Desktop and Power BI Service is very important as a data analyst. Also, knowing how Power BI stores the data set after connecting to them is very, very crucial. So welcome back to the channel and welcome to Excel Island, where the goal and objective is to learn and master the Microsoft Power BI tool over the next 100 days. Today is day 64. We are just one more course to complete the whole career track, which is the data analysis in Power BI career track on the DataCamp platform, which actually contain 17 courses, and we've actually completed 16. We're on the 16th course right now. So we've completed 15 course. We are on the 16th course right now. We have just one more course to complete the whole career track and start putting all what we've learned into practice. I'm super excited to the whatever date it is, because we actually may not go reach 100 days of learning before we actually complete the whole courses in the whole career track. Also, if you want to if you want to follow along with or catch up on the previous live stream or the previous learning, you just need to go to the live stream tab on the channel. You're going to see all the whole courses we've covered so far on the live stream tab from day one until today's day 64 day of learning. Also, all data set exercise files, Power BI files that we'll be using to learn and we continue to be using to learn is already linked under a YouTube description. Do make sure to check out the link and download those files to practice along with me. So today's first chapter in this data connection in Power BI, which is the 16th course, we'll be talking about the commonly used data connections in Power BI and insight into the data connection features of Power BI service. You get now, while finally having the chance to carry out our own data connection test. Also, we're going to practice how to connect to those data sources within Power BI desktop and Power BI service. And luckily for me, I have access to Power BI desktop and Power BI service, and I'll be showing you how to do that in those two different interfaces in the Power BI ecosystem. So welcome back to the channel. Don't forget to support the channel by giving it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, put on the notification bell so you'll be the first to know whenever I go live or drop a new content on the channel so you can improve yourself and get informed in the data community. So let's jump back to learning without further ado. So I'll just go to my DataCamp dashboard. You can see we have to start a new course, which is data connections in Power BI. But before we do that, I'm going to show you really quick here the career track section on the DataCamp platform. You can see we're actually 88% to our the whole career track on the data analysis in Power BI. When I started this fun way of learning and live streaming my learning journey, just to carry you along on how becoming a tech person or crashing into data analytics or data science, whatever tech journey you are trying to embark on, how taxing and really challenging it may be, just to encourage you to what to keep pushing and keep learning your tech your tech skills. So you can see, so it was quite interesting. We started from 1%, you see, and today we're actually 88% to the learning journey. So I actually started with data analysis in SQL before I jump before when I completed the data analysis in SQL, then I moved to data analysis in Power BI. Also, the plan is when we complete this data analysis in Power BI career track also, we are moving to the next tool, which is data analysis in Python. So this is my learning goal, my learning goal or journey for this year, 2024. So these are the three tools I want to on myself in, on my skills on. You get it now? So definitely, probably in 2025, I'm going to pick up some new tools, or some new career paths, also in data, in majorly in data. I'm not changing my character for it or anything. So it could become a data engineering or data engineering in SQL. There are quite a lot of career paths you can follow in the data space. So our goal for this year is SQL, Power BI, and Python. Definitely, we've completed Power BI. We're moving to Python. So put on the notification bell and subscribe right now, so you'll be the first to know whenever I go live or start a Python journey. If you are willing to or looking to on your Python skills this year and looking for a learning partner to charge you along. So if I click on data analysis in Power BI really quick, you could see all what we've covered so far. And okay, that is you can see it actually contains 17 courses estimated for 48 hours. And we're spending like absolutely 1 hour each, minimum of one on average, we are spending 1 hour each on it live stream, and we've done over 64 live streams. That means we spent more than this hour because you have to practice, practice what the software is saying. So definitely you're going to spend more than 48 hours, including the practice hours. You get it now, including the practice hours. So definitely you're going to spend almost 66 hours or 70 hours trying to complete this whole career track. Because we're on the data connections in Power BI. So let's continue from here. Okay, let me just put on my headset really quick there.
Hi, my name is Yasin and I'll be your instructor for this Power BI course. In this course, we will be covering the important features related to connecting data in Power BI. Firstly, let's review why data is important, specifically to companies. Business data plays an important part in driving the success of any business, big or small, whatever industry the company operates in. Whether healthcare or logistics, company data can be stored and utilized. Company data can help overall performance in a number of ways, such as evaluating company KPIs or carrying out performance analysis of marketing campaigns. There are two categories of company data, internal and external data. Internal data has been collected by the company itself from its operations. External data has been collected by another company, which can choose to sell it to other companies. This data can relate to more general topics. Knowing how and where data is stored helps when making data connections. Storing data is a part of the overall data flow process, how data flows from raw sources to structured setups. Data sources are the first step. This is where the raw data is obtained from company servers. They can be database management systems like MySQL or raw data files like CSV files. The next component is the data lake, which allows users to gather raw data from different sources. They can be used to further combine company data. The third component is the dataset. This is usually in tabular form with clear columns and rows. In this visual, we can see a simplified overview of the data flow stages and how they fit in with the manipulation and visualization of data. Once the data has progressed through the first three stages, it can be manipulated for use in reports. Data visualization processes are the final step. The first steps of the flow are usually dealt with by data engineers or database administrators. The latter stages are related to data analyst or data scientist roles. A clear data flow setup ensures that company data can be effectively utilized with clear maintenance and refresh procedures. Power BI Desktop is the main tool used for connecting to all data source types, as it has over 100 available sources, including Excel files, databases such as Dataverse, and even web pages. Dataverse is a cloud-based storage space that can be used to store business application data. Power BI Service is the software as a service version of Power BI. It is made up of a collection of applications that allow users to create, control, and share data insights. One important feature is workspaces, where users can create and store any assets within the cloud service. Workspaces can be for personal use or for entire teams. Multiple users with shared access can create, share, and view assets. It allows whole organizations to connect to one data visualization tool. Users are also able to download and apply different applications to assist with improving their data visualizations. Power BI Service can be used for sharing different types of assets, such as datasets, reports, or dashboards. Dashboards are only available in Power BI Service. These are single-page outputs where you can pin visualizations from one or more reports from within Power BI Service. Users can therefore create high-level insights by combining different visualizations. We will cover more of this later on. Connections to data sources are made through the use of data gateways, which act as a bridge between the data sources and Power BI. This also allows users to create scheduled refreshes, ensuring that datasets are kept up to date. Here we can see an overview of the differences and similarities between the two applications. In general though, Power BI Desktop is useful for loading, transforming, and manipulating data. Power BI Service has its strengths in sharing different assets within organizations with multiple users. Both applications provide report creating features and the ability to apply security measures to outputs. Now, let's get started on the course material.
Okay. I think the major takeaway here is understanding the difference between data sources. There's a data source, there's a data lake. before you actually have data sets. Ooh. So there are data sources and there are data lakes. There's internal data, there's external data. So let's talk about the data flow process real quick. Mm. Okay, when dealing with data connections to Power BI, some basic knowledge about how company data has been sourced, stored, and processed can be extremely helpful. If errors appear, it can help a user locate where there may be an issue within the flow of data. So place the following steps of the data flow process in the correct order. So the first one says, definitely it is the data sources, data source, then from data source to data lakes. Then after data lakes, we have data sets. You definitely want to manipulate your data sets before data visualization can happen. We nailed it. So it says, congratulations, understanding the data flow process also gives you a greater appreciation of the different parts involved when dealing with data connections and building data visualizations. All right, so okay.
Let's start creating some connections in Power BI. For our course, we will be using data related to the fictional company Worldwide Importers, a wholesale novelty goods importer and distributor operating from San Francisco. The company data is contained in several different sources: CSV files, MySQL Server database, and web sources. Our primary focus throughout each chapter is the dataset sources and connections that can be created, not so much what the data can tell us in terms of analysis and visualizations. We will start off with a Power BI desktop file that already has two connections created, one through a CSV file and the other through a web source. In the data view, we can see the two tables and examine the data that we have brought into the report. Now we will connect to our final data source using a database connection. The database that is used by WWI is MySQL Server. We can go to the Home tab and click on Get Data. As this is a database connection, we will click on the More option, as our desired source is not listed in the drop-down menu. Once the Get Data window opens, we can click Database on the menu on the left, select the MySQL database option, and click on Connect. A new pop-up window appears. At the top of this window are the server and database fields. These are related to the MySQL database connection details specific to each company or user's database management system and must be filled in for the connection to be set up. As we are connecting to a database, we can apply filtering to the data that we connect to Power BI. This can be done by clicking on Advanced Options. Here we can write code in the native language of the database connection to bring in data from specific tables. We will leave this section blank for now and revisit it later on. We can now click OK in order to carry on with the setup process. A new window will appear that requires us to select the specific table in the database that we want to bring into Power BI. We will select the WWI fact cell table for our report. After we click Load, we have completed the setup of our MySQL database connection. Let's create a card visual from the table constructed using the MySQL Server data. This will show the number of distinct invoices issued by WWI. Great, we have 3 different data connections to 3 different sources, all in one Power BI desktop file, and we have started creating visuals from our data models. One last step we will carry out is to publish the report to the Power BI service. In order to do this, we have to be logged into our Microsoft account, which is either a Pro or Premium account. The next step is to save our report. Then we have to click on the Publish button located at the top of the window. A new window will appear that allows you to choose which workspace you can store your report in. Let's choose My Workspace for now. Once we click Select, we will see a message in a similar pop-up window that is informing us that the report is being published to Power BI. If this process is carried out without any problems, then a success message will appear. Now it's time for you to test your knowledge and try it out. Good luck!
So let's give Power BI desktop and service a share. So which of the following is not a data connection in Power BI? There's CSV, there's web, there's data verse in Power BI. It now depends if Power BI desktop or service. JSON. I've never had a JSON before. Oh, JSON is a file. So this one is the database. What about Dataverse? Dataverse to do with Power BI service. Let's see. SQL. You can say web. CSV. Are you not saying my SQL is a SQL is not a database, it's not a data connection? Oh, okay. They assume it's the program. Okay. They did specify probably MySQL or some sort. They could have said, okay, MySQL or my PostgreSQL. But that's by the way, though. We know all these are a data connection in Power BI. MySQL is a database. Okay, it's a database, not a data connection. But that's funny, though. All right, so let's move on. Correct. You say SQL is the only option that's not a data connection in Power BI because it's a programming language. However, you can connect to SQL Server or other related relational database. Okay, we want to call SQL Server a data connection, not SQL. Okay, interesting. Okay, let's see. Let's see in Power BI service how this looks like.
Now, let's move on to Power BI Service. When a user logs into Power BI Service, they will be met with this page. The page loads by default in the Home tab of your login access. On the left side of the screen, you can see that the Home tab is highlighted as this is our current view. The Home view usually shows recent files that you have accessed, as well as recommendations for reports and dashboards to be built. We will now examine the Get Data section. Here, we are able to upload datasets to Power BI Service using files. If a different data source is required, it has to be connected to Power BI Desktop and then published to the service for a connection to be created. Once we have uploaded or created connections to data sources, we can see these connections by clicking on the datasets view. Here we can see some connections that have already been made to datasets by the user. In Power BI Service, a dataset is distinguished by the orange label shown on the left of the dataset name. Let's explore this section a bit more. When hovering over a dataset name, we can see the 3 vertical dots appear, meaning there are more options available. From the menu that appears, we will examine the settings options further. When clicking on this, we are taken to the settings of the dataset that has already been created. Here we can see information related to the gateway connection that has been set up in order for the dataset to be connected to the Power BI service. This requires login details associated with the database you are connecting to. In addition, we also see the option to create scheduled refreshes. Here, a user can schedule automatic refreshes of the dataset so that it is up to date for use in reports and dashboards. If we exit the settings page and go back to datasets, we can see more information listed. There is the owner of the dataset shown, the date that the dataset was last refreshed, and the workspace location of the dataset. Workspaces are another important aspect of Power BI Service as they help us to organize datasets, reports, and dashboards within our Power BI Service access. Towards the bottom of the left-hand menu, we can see 2 labels, Workspaces and My Workspace. The bottom label shows the workspace we are currently working in. If we click on the My Workspace label, it will show us all the files stored in this work area. If we now click on Workspaces, a new pop-up appears next to the left-hand menu. Here we can see a list of other workspaces that we have created or have access to. At the bottom of this pop-up, we can create new workspaces. My Workspace is the area of Power BI Service that gives the user their own individual working and storage area. The other workspaces we create can be shared with other members of our organization, to who we can provide access so that datasets, reports, and dashboards can be viewed by complete teams. Let's view how a workspace within an enterprise might appear. From the workspaces created, let's look at the company AdventureWorks DW. If we enter the shared workspace area, we can see several reports, datasets, and even dashboards that have been created. Let's click on the dashboard, which is recognizable by this green icon next to the dashboard name. We can see different visualizations. If we click on one of them, it will take us to the report that was used to create the visualization. If we go back to the Workspace Home section, we can click on the settings options here to see who has access to this workspace and what type of access they have. As the administrator of the workspace, we can change access types and even add new people from our organization. Now that we have had a tour of the main features of the Power BI service, it is time for some exercises.
Oh, let's go. So desktop versus service. So you have now been introduced to both Power BI desktop and Power BI service interfaces. So each one adds its own unique features, but there are also features that are available in all Power BI versions. Can you identify which features are associated with which Power BI interface? So it says drag the items into the correct bucket. Power BI desktop only, both Power BI service. Report creation. Also, report creation is only in Power BI desktop. You create dashboard in Power BI service. Power query, both measures. I'm not sure. Let's see. Software as a service, Power BI service. Let's see. Nope, wrong place. Oh, come on. Yeah. Create workspace only in the service. Okay. Share output with stakeholders only in the service. I'm curious about these measures. I think measures should be only in Power BI desktop only. Oh, Power query, report creation. Okay, hold up. There's Power query in Power BI service though. I can't believe that. Let's see. Are you telling me Power query in Power BI service create reports? In Power BI desktop you create reports. When in Power BI service you create dashboard. You can tell reports. I will say both because you can publish a report from Power BI desktop to service. Then from those reports or that report, you can create a dashboard entirely. So there's a reports part in Power BI service also. What I'm not agreeing on is Power Query. Power Query is also available in Power BI service, but I guess it is not. Okay. I'll look up on that. So congratulations. Understanding the main strengths of the two main component of Power BI is important because it will ensure you identify and use the most relevant version for your data visualization needs. Okay, so let's continue. So let's create our first connection, then with desktop or service data connection, then we add a database connection. The database connection, I'll probably be using the Power BI, the DataCamp interface for this because I have my Power BI service access here, just right here. So if I could connect the reports, publish the report from Power BI, desktop to service, I'll just do that. Mm. So this is the new Power BI service design. It's called Fabric or something of sorts. Let's see. So these are some of the reports I've created over time. It's looking to publish some new reports though. This is simplified, this is expanded. Okay, this is expanded. So there's a new report view entirely, or a new home page entirely rather. So you can see we have new features here in the Power BI side. You can see my workspace here. I click on my workspace very quick. So there's a new design entirely for, okay, this will be later. I'm kind of busy right now. You can see, got it. You can see some of the report I've created. I think I need to go back to the home page and change it back to simplified. I kind of like this. So this is my access to Power BI service. So let's see. So first connection. You have been informed of, okay. Let me see the file. So which file are we to open? I want to launch the file. Let's see the context first. So you have been informed that WWI requires you to start the process of creating new reports for the senior management team. However, you're also informed by the IT department that the data required is in different sources. You will therefore have to create connections to different data sources so that relationships can be created between the different data sets. As you are dealing with more data connections, the loading process may take a bit longer. So we have everything prepared for you right here on DataCamp. Or if you prefer to take the course on your local version of Power BI, you can. We have Power BI already. So for this course, please note certain data sets will not be available for use on your local version as they are in DataCamp database. It is recommended that you follow this course through the DataCamp virtual machine. So this is the DataCamp virtual machine that you're looking at. You'll definitely be using DataCamp virtual machine for this part of the course. So create your first connection using the CSV file www.dimstockitem.csv, which is located in the data sets folder. Okay. Let's get our first data connection. So what we have to do is just go to get data. I think we don't have any data sets here. Let's check. There are no data sets here. Okay, let's get data from here. It's the CSV file. So I'm going to select CSV. We go to data sets option, which is this dim stock item right here. Then I'm going to click on open. What else is open? What else is coming up? Let us create a web connection using the URL address that is contained in the text file www.website.txt that is found in the dataset folder. So this is our first connection. We don't need to transform, we just load. This is not a Power Query course. So let us just load the data set like that. Straightforward. So you can see it is loading. So that is CSV connection. So once we connect to a URL connection, so we need to go and copy that URL form. So we have a data set here right now, you can see right there. So the next one is says create a web connection. Let's see. Web. Using the URL address that is contained in the text file www. How do I copy the text file? Let's go to the folder here. Okay. Let's see. Okay, let's see the data set folder here. So we have the text file here. Uh-oh. This is not a text file. Hold up. Okay, this is the text file here. Okay. I'll definitely just copy everything from here. Then Control C. And I'll close that. So I'll just paste the URL right there. And we just say the connection. Okay. So it's going to ask if required, ensure that the access type of the connection is set to anonymous. Okay. Anonymous. Where do we do that? Okay. I think we just said that there, but let's just load the data set really quick there. If required, so it is not actually required. So that is loading. Let's see the next instruction. Create a card visual to show the number of unique stock items held by WWI using the WW stock item ID column. Okay. Now let's drop in a card visual. We want to create to show the number of unique stock using the stock ID. So I just go to search stock ID or stock item ID. This should be it. This is a stock item ID. So we want to count the unique. So I need to go to the data sets. And so instead of counts, I'm going to select count distinct. Let me just switch off my camera real quick there. So if I go to the data field here, rather than saying count, I'm going to click on count distinct. That is 228. So create a second card visual. Let's create a second card visual. So the second card visual should show the number of unique customers serviced serviced by WI in the customer ID. Let's drop a second card visual. Our card visual customer ID is going to be unique customer also. Put the customer ID key here. Because we have total customer was 402. We want the unique ID of customers. Same method, count distance. You can see it's still 402. So we have unique customers ID there. So how many unique customers were serviced by the first 402 unique customers? So spot on. So we were able to successfully connect to the company's sales information and identify that over 400 customers were sold products by WWI. That's interesting. So let's move on to the next challenge, which is desktop or service data connections. Okay, now says desktop or service data connections. So you have now been introduced to both Power BI desktop and Power BI service interfaces. So once a user knows what data source they have and what connections can be made, it is important that they can identify the most appropriate version of Power BI that they can use. Can you identify which data connection features are associated with which Power BI interface? So schedule refresh, that should be definitely be Power BI service. We can perform schedule refreshes on Power BI desktop. All data sources, I'll go for both. Data set tab, data set tab, data set tab in. Okay, let's go for service first. Get data, Power BI desktop. Gateway connection, Power BI service. Security permissions, Power BI service. Okay, let's see. Ooh, security permissions can be on both. All data source is on Power BI desktop though. Let's see, security permissions. Get data. Get data is also in Power BI service. Okay, let's see. Oh, so we have all data source only in Power BI desktop, not from both. That means we can connect to CSV files within Power BI service. Get data. So that means the get data feature doesn't contain all data sources for Power BI service. Security permission. I'm curious, what security permission can you do on Power BI desktop? Oh, you can do row-level security in Power BI desktop. Yes, can do row-level security. I can also do dynamic row-level security in Power BI desktop. Oh, I got that one. That's interesting. I know all these are only available on Power BI service. This is the schedule refresh, dataset lab, and gateway connections. No, I now have a better understanding of for both now. Okay. So add a database connection. Let's do the final challenge here. So a database connection. It says when using Power BI within organizations, you will have to get used to dealing with many different data sources in order to create reports that will be beneficial for your stakeholders. So the IT department from WWI has proceeded to add another data source that will be useful for your reporting needs. So this time, you will have to connect to an SQL database and create a new visual that will combine two tables from two different sources. Time to add your first data connection. In my SQL connection, you want to add the WW fat sales data set that is stored in my SQL database. So the MySQL server and database information you need to use are, okay, we need to use this server information and database information. Okay, so we have to use get data from here and click on more to get the data within the DataCamp SQL server. So go click on database We're going to click on MySQL database and click on connect. So we need to input this database information right here. So the server is going to be by content, by contents, by contents db dot data camp.com. The database is going to be DataCamp underscore learner. Let's click on OK to create a connection. Okay. Oh, we have just two tables there. The stock item table and the fact sales. Once you connect to the fact sales, we check the mark so we can have a preview of what the fact sales table looks like. Then click on load. So we name the table created from MySQL source to wwi underscore fact sales. Let's rename it to right click and click on rename. So I'm going to rename it to wwi underscore fact sale. Log that in. So create a stack column chart that shows, okay, let me just make all this, my simple card a little bit smaller. Kind of checking my power source there. Okay, let's follow the instruction. It says create a stacked column chart. Let's drop in a stacked column chart. This is a stacked area chart or column chart should be here. This is a stacked, this is a cluster column chart. This is 100% stacked. So stack column charts, there you are. So our stack column chart should show that shows the unique number of invoices issues per buying group. Feel free to rearrange the visual for improved viewing. Okay, it shows unique number of invoices issued. Invoice, where do you see invoice? We see that in the fact sales, definitely the fact sales. Ooh, lot of data sets here. Let me switch on my camera real quick here. Lot of data column here. Okay, but let's see. It says unique number of invoices issued per buying group. Okay, we have invoice ID here. Let me log that in. We have invoice ID. They want it to be unique number of invoices though. But let's see the buying group. Then we buying group here. Any group. Okay. Let me search for buying group. Okay, buying group. We have a buying group here. Okay. So we want to show the unique number. So if I go to the invoice ID, just click on this drop down menu and show count distance. Okay, interesting. So that's how simple we could do that calculation. Not a pretty hard calculation to do. I'm trying to make this a little bit bigger. So for this, we have for this buying group, Tailspin Toys, that is over 3,000 invoices, or not available invoices, not group, and this Wingtip Toys, over 1,900 invoices. So if I click on next, you say which buying group are the most invoice issued? That should be the Tailspin Toys. Tailspin The tailspin. Tailspin toys. Correct. So we nailed that. So awesome. The buyer had over 3,000 unique or invoices issued by WWI, making it by far the most important buying group for the company. We can already see how being able to connect to different sources gives us the ability to create even more insights. You will also be able to see that relationship between the three tables have been made automatically in the model view. Let's check that. This is the data view. Let's go to the model view. If I easily connected to this data source for my Power BI desktop, but I doubt. Okay, let's close this. Close this. You can see the connection has been made. But I want my fat sales to always be. This is our. Oh, let's see if that loads back without issue. That's my network acting up. Okay, this is the fat sales table. So this is the dimension table. So we have just two dimension table here. And we have one. Okay, so you can see the relationship has been made automatically one to many based on the customer key, based on the invoice. Let me see the primary key here. Probably the stock ID. The stock item ID, I guess so. So that's how easy it is to connect to different data source to create your data, a data flick, then a data sets connection. That's interesting. So we come to the end of this chapter in our data connection. We're moving to the databases and more. So probably in this second chapter, we'll be learning about more. The next step. So this is okay, we're going to learn about a different database connection and how different settings can be changed. Well, that's interesting. That will be on the next live stream, which is day 65. All right, so thanks for staying to the end of the live stream. So if you found value in this live stream, do want to support the channel by giving the video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and put on the notification bell so you'll be the first to know whenever I go live or drop a new content on the channel. And I'll see you on tomorrow's live stream. Bye for now.